Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So guys, I hope you're all doing great. Today, I want to show you all two different speedrunning dungeons. Well, one team for two different dungeons, okay? So we have Icegolem Peak Stage 24 and Dragon's Lair Stage 24 as well. These are probably the best places to farm for most people. So this team works out perfect for this. So this is the team that we're going to be using the exact same presets for both of these, which is very, very nice because it takes up less spaces in your total save team presets. But it just makes it simple. And I love simplicity. So I'm going to start this dragon run, and I'm going to talk about some possible substitutions you can make in this team. So Bad L is going to be doing the poisons, obviously helping Dark Hell explode some more, giving some damage boost. So you could replace him, but he's also the person there who makes it a little more secure because he can solo stage 25 of both these areas. So having him on stage 24 with the similar solo gear for stage 25 allows it to be very, very consistent, because if the team was to just crumple for some reason, Bad L can most likely handle the boss by himself without too much issue. That does come down to the gearing, of course, but it should be no problem whatsoever. Ghostborn is going to be very nice. Obviously, the consistent decreased defense plus the increased attack, but I imagine you could use somebody like Lydia, somebody like Venus, somebody possibly like Draco, at least for Dragon. We'll see about the affinity. I think Icegolem's the same affinity, so you could probably use Draco there as well if you had him. Ruel is kind of needed. He's kind of like the whole team built around Ruel. Dark Hell, you can definitely use Venom Mage instead of Dark Hell, no problem whatsoever. And for Renegade, you can use Kymar. Obviously, you can use Kymar or Yumiko, but let's be honest, if you have Kymar and Yumiko, you probably have a Renegade as well. So that's kind of some of the substitutions you can make. Basically, Dark Hell speeding up the runs, Poison Explosion, he's really what makes the run so much faster. And shout out to Bruno if you're watching this video, dude. I'm a big fan of Dark Hell now. I know he's been trying to get me to use Dark Hell more and more. And now that I've been using him more and more, I'm starting to like him more and more. So this run right here is a little bit on the slow side of things. We don't have it in 144 FPS, but typically the runs are going about a minute and 10 seconds. I'll try to rerun this after we finish up with Icegolem as well. But a minute 33, it's definitely on the slower side right now. But still a respectable time. Definitely not a speed run breaking records, but it's still a good time. So RSL Helper was capping it down at 60 FPS for whatever reason. I don't know why it keeps doing this. But let's go ahead and go to Icegolem and show you guys the team in Icegolem as well. And then after that, we'll jump in, show you the team presets, and I'll show you all the gearing and all the masteries and skills of all these champions. As far as books go, if you can book them, go ahead and book them. But I'll give you the exact breakdown that I have on my team if you want to replicate the exact same thing here in just a little bit. So we're currently at 240 FPS, it says on RSL Helper. So I guess it's unlimited. So the big thing on this is on Wave 2. The speed tuning of Ruel and Ghostborn is very important because you want to make sure Ruel does his hit whenever the decreased defense is already up. So there's been issues in the past where the tune got a little bit off and the decreased defense wasn't actually applied. It was messed up. The current one that I have, the current team order, is very important. So if you can get the speeds close to what I have, at least as far as the team order goes, you should be in a good spot. The speeds aren't 100% exactly what you need by no means, but the team order is pretty important. So here, I essentially want everybody to die except for Dark Hell and Bad L. Bad L and Dark Hell are basically going to be just duoing the boss stage, and they do it pretty quickly as well. For Icegolem, it's been about the same clear time as for Dragon. Both of these champions are not crit capped, and they don't have Giant Slayer or War Master. So having those would definitely speed up the time on Dragon, but you got to be very careful with it on Icegolem, because if you hit the Icegolem and you start popping him below these threshold percentages, so like 80%, 60%, 45, 30, 15%, then he's going to do that big slam, which is going to give you the likelihood of actually failing a run if you were ever going to fail a run. So let me go over here one more time, check out Dragon, stage 24 of Dragon, and see if we can get a faster time for you guys than the minute 30 that was shown earlier. So every other run I've done has been faster. The last one, which is because the low FPS. So if on PC, if you push it to unlimited FPS or even 144 FPS, it's going to be quicker. If you use RSL Helper, you can adjust those. But let's see what we get here. Obviously, if we clear the first two waves with no problem, it's going to be a very fast run. But if some of the hexes get resisted, then it's going to be a slower run. So you can definitely push it up to a minute 40. This really depends on how the RNG goes with everything actually landing. Bad L should land his poisons majority of the time, giving you that extra damage boost. But sometimes Ruel does not place all of his hexes if they get resisted, because there is a chance for him to be resisted, and that could definitely slow the runs up just a little bit. I wish I could turn off Renegade using this on the boss, which I guess that's from her A1 ability, but that decreased accuracy doesn't matter on the Dragon, and that's just taking up a poison spot, to be honest. And Dark Hell and Bad L, they put up a lot of poisons. So honestly, I may just get rid of the accuracy on Renegade, but I may be using her on my Fire Knight team as well. So I got to check that. But this time right here, we're looking closer to the minute 10, I'd say. Once Dark Hell gets his turn, it's going to be all over. I wish all these champions could die, except for Dark Hell and Bad L. It'd be perfect run. But unfortunately, we can't really kill him on the dragon. It's harder to let your champions die on the dragon just because of how he does the damage. But at minute 10, much more realistic runtime that I usually see. Minute 10 up to a minute 20, and then as low as like a minute and 5, I think I've seen before. All right, guys, so let's check out the presets of these teams. So Icegolem and Dragon stage 24, they're the exact same presets. So starting with Ruel, I'll just click through these. Round 1, open with Stalk Prey. Round 2, exact same thing. Round 3, do whatever you want, except for don't use the A2 ability. Renegade, round 1, open with her A2, don't use her A3. The main thing is just don't use the A3. Round 2, open with the A3 reset. And then round 3, don't use ideally Lash Out. I'm going to set this because I don't really want her slowing the Icegolem. If she slows the Icegolem, then it's going to make the run take a little bit longer because less poisons are going to be going off. So don't use the A2 ability on round 3. Bad Alcazar, just opening with the A2, opening, and then don't use the A2 on round 2 because sometimes he could get back around to a second turn. If he's in reflex gear currently, if yours is not in reflex gear or nothing's going to take extra turns, then this shouldn't really matter. But I don't want to take a chance in Bad L resetting the ability, not having this ability ready for the actual boss stage of whatever dungeon we're doing. So this is Bad L setups. Ghostborn, round 1, open with his A3, round 2, open with his A3, and round 3, don't use either one of these abilities. I don't want him doing a lot of damage. He can definitely do a decent amount of damage, hit the Icegolem. That's the main thing it actually matters on. If you're using this team only for Dragon, this doesn't really matter, but the A1 ability, I want it to stay safe. I want him to hit the little side golem helpers, and then it makes the run very, very safe. I've had the run before when I had these abilities turned on, where he actually uses A2, hit the Icegolem, procced into that different threshold. Icegolem does a big slam. We all die. So we fix that, and we're good to go now. Dark Kale, round 1, open with the A2. It does a little bit of damage. Don't use the A3. Too long of an animation. Round 2, the exact same thing for the exact same reason. So for round 3, I have him set to not use the A2 ability just because the animation's a little bit long. I don't really need it, to be honest, because Bad L has so many continuous heals going up that Dark Kale's going to be perfectly fine. I have both these champions geared with high resist, so they should resist all the debuffs. So I've just found more success and more quicker runs turning off this A2 ability. Now, if you want it to be more consistent, if you're having issues with consistency, maybe you change some of these champions out, go ahead, turn on this A2 ability. I used to use Ninja instead of Bad L, worked perfectly fine, but in that case, I had to turn off this A2 ability because Ninja did hit the boss and could sometimes set him over those thresholds and make it kind of bad. So in this case, I just have him prioritizing the A3 and then using the A1 whenever he's not using his A3 ability. And he does have Relentless Gear, so that helps out quite a bit. So now let's go ahead and jump in here, guys, and let me show you all the gearing that I've used for these champions. We'll start off with the first champion to go, and that is Renegade. So Renegade is basically just speed. Nothing else really matters. The accuracy, I'd rather have no accuracy, to be honest, because I don't want her applying her debuffs on any of these bosses, especially the dragon. It's just taking up poison spots. So just speed. Make sure she's survivable, so if she does get hit by the waves, some point that she can survive. So you want a little bit of HP and defense, but honestly, you want it low enough that the bosses could just one-shot her, get her out of there, get rid of her turns, no problem. Then as far as her books go, she doesn't need any books whatsoever. She could honestly be left at level 50. Now, if you're going to use her specifically for Dragon, you can go War Master. But if you're using her for Dragon as well as Icegolem, I wouldn't even go War Master because those War Master procs could set the Icegolem over those thresholds and just give you a bad day, basically. The next champion to go is going to be Bad Alcazar. So Bad L right now is in reflex gear. He does not need reflex gear whatsoever. The main things you need for Bad L is good HP, good defense, good speed. I have him basically built right now. I have some videos done on him about how you can build Bad L to solo stage 25 of Icegolem and Dragon. So basically he's in that build right now. The video, he was in Frenzy gear, but this gear, he should be capable of soloing both those stages, but I haven't actually tested it yet. But this build right here, definitely, if the run fails at the boss, Bad L is going to be able to handle it no problem. The reflex gear allows me to put more poisons, more stuff for Dark Hell to explode, more continuous heals, just makes a safer run overall. And then I have the Immortal gear as a little addition, just in case something gets a little bit funky, then we can go ahead and make up for that over there. So as far as resistance goes, you want at least about 315 is what I've found to be successful. And then 200 accuracy, you're going to be good to go. He doesn't really hit. Well, he doesn't hit us at all on his A2 ability. So as far as weak hits on the bad affinity, doesn't matter. The A1, such small damage, and honestly, that's good because I don't really want him doing any damage whatsoever. Don't want him proccing the Icegolem's ability. As far as your masteries go, this is the setup I have. Not super important. You can really use whatever mastery setup you want. This just gets him around to more turns. The oppressor, more speed based on his, well, more turn meter fill technically based on the debuffs he has active. So you guys can copy this if you would like. This is the exact same build that I use for him when soloing stage 25s of dungeons. So after Bad L, the next champion to go, I believe, is Ghostborn. So Ghostborn's at 234 speed and Dark Kale is going to be at 226. That's something you definitely want to keep in mind, because if Dark Kale is faster than Ghostborn, I believe something gets thrown off with as far as when they use their abilities and with Ruel as well. So definitely keep Ghostborn between Bad L and Kale's or Dark Kale speed. It's going to work out the best for you. So as far as Ghostborn's gear goes, since we're only using the A1 ability on the Icegolem, he can be built with some damage for the waves. Keep in mind, you will be neutral affinity, so you'll also have the 20% crit rate aura from Ruel. My Ghostborn's not crit capped, not a huge deal. He's going to do some extra damage to the waves. I may push him up to be crit capped, but basically, I want the speed to be good. I want it to be, like I said, between Bad L and Dark Kale. And then the accuracy for the A1 to land the decreased defense, great if you can get it. And then HP and defense, whatever really, doesn't really matter. So just speed, crit rate, crit damage if you want to go for it, doesn't really matter. And then accuracy if you want to land that A1. So really all it comes down to is speed. Speed is the absolute bare minimum you need. As far as his skills go, I do have his A1 and an A2 and A3 all fully booked. You really just need the A3 fully booked. The A1 ability, since you're not really relying on the decreased defense here, doesn't really matter. Now, as far as masteries go, I would actually rather not have this ability, except for the fact that I'm only using the A1 when it actually comes to the Icegolem, so it's perfectly fine. His masteries here are perfectly fine, no issues whatsoever with having War Master, and technically it will help speed up the Dragon Run since he does survive there. So now the star of the show, Dark Kale. So he's in Relentless gear for the obvious benefit of extra turns. He's built to resist those debuffs, and he's built to place his debuffs as well as have good speed. So basically I built him very similar to Bad L in the sense that, hey, once everybody dies, I need Dark Kale to more or less be able to solo the Icegolem. Both Bad L and Kale have the stats where they're more or less capable of soloing if things start going crazy. So I would definitely recommend doing that. It's going to make your run much, much, much more consistent. If nothing else, just get good resistance. Get good resistance, good accuracy, and good speed. Get your HP and defense as good as you can get them. But if you have to go a little bit lower on these, getting the resistance is really, really important, because the one Icegolem minion, I think, places decreased defense. The other one does heal reduction, and you definitely do not want the heal reduction placed on you, especially if it's at a time when your Bad L doesn't have the cleanse. Granted, you are running with Bad L in his cleanse, so the debuffs may not be a huge deal, but if you get placed decreased defense and then you get hit, he very well may die. Now, as far as the masteries go, this is his setup. I just went Unshakable for some extra resist because my gear was having issues before, but you could definitely go the exact same build as Bad L. It's going to be no problems whatsoever. As far as his skills go, his A1, definitely fully book it. Honestly, go ahead and fully book this champion. He's an amazing champion, absolutely incredible. Doesn't require a ton of books, and he's definitely going to be worth it, especially if you're going to be doing speed runs. Now, the last champion to talk about is Ruel the Huntsmaster. So if you've seen my other videos, this is exactly the same as those videos. Savage gear plus cruel, stack as much damage as you can, get reasonable enough speed so he's not being lapped and thrown out of tune, or at least not lapped too much, but 171 speed, 80% crit rate, good crit damage, good attack, perfectly fine. Accuracy is very, very important as well, because you want to make sure you have at least 200 accuracy to place your hex on all the enemies. This is what's going to give you those extra hits, plus the extra damage, so you really, really need to be landing those hex debuffs. Absolutely incredible. And then he's just going to hit like an absolute truck. We do have Helm Smasher on him. These are the most important masteries. These are the ones that are going to be very important. You don't have to go the attack mastery. You can definitely go the crit rate one instead. No problem whatsoever there. And then as far as the rest of these go, get these. These are what I've found to do the most damage, have the most success. This one is for my Fire Knight build, so you can definitely go a different mastery than this one. This doesn't really have much benefit here in this team, but these are my mastery setups. This is what I've been enjoying so far, so if you want to copy those, there you go. But guys, that is my speedrun team, my new speedrun team for Icegolem Stage 24, as well as Dragon Stage 24. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. Hopefully you like it. Maybe it gives you some more options besides the typical Seer and Poison Explosion teams. Like, I'm definitely becoming quite the Ruel fanboy. I just really can't say much else. I mean, I've literally had to change my name. It was forced upon me to change my name because, hey, that's what I've become. That's really what I've become. Check this out. Let's go here to Dungeons. We'll see. Icegolem and Dragon, both Ruel teams. And then Fire Knight Stage 25. This is not actually my team. We're going to go ahead and delete that. This is my team now. Fire Knight 25, Ruel. Boom. I guess that's hey, it is what it is, guys. It has to be this way. But guys, thank you all very much for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know if you build this team. Let me know how you're liking Ruel if you try them out. And I'll catch you all in the next one.